You see that? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I'm back. Road Rants for Black and White Sports. Yes, it has been a while. I am making my return, and I'm pulling no punches. I was going to make this video yesterday. I recorded it, and I didn't like it. So I waited. I've got some strong feelings about Brett Favre. Now, for full disclosure, Brett Favre, as an NFL player, was in my top 5 favorite players of all time. Maybe top 3. Okay? And he has made some comments. What has happened in the sports world is, much like Hollywood, it's become a race for the most woke all of a sudden. Shannon Sharp, undisputed, ultra woke. Mike Florio and Chris Sims on Pro Football Talk. It's turned into a complete identity politics, virtue signaling shit show. Max Kellerman on First Take, forget it. He's trash. That show's trash. ESPN has once again become trash. In an interview with Brett Favre, I believe it was TMZ, Brett Favre said that what Colin Kaepernick has done in kneeling during the national anthem will be viewed in the same way as the great Pat Tillman having given his life for his country after 9/11. And it's got to be one of the stupidest, most appalling comments I've ever heard from anybody. I'm floored by this. To my knowledge, Brett Favre was an ultra-conservative. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's decided, hey, because it's a race for the most woke, I've got to join the race, and I better get on board. Now, let me tell you how I feel about Kaepernick. I am a lifelong 49ers fan. There's a couple of different narratives out there. Number one, could Cap play well enough at the time that he left the league to be a starter? Yes. Don't get confused. There's a misconception. I absolutely do not agree with Colin Kaepernick and what he is doing or what his message has been. Or at least I don't agree with his method of protest. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. I'm fine with him protesting, but not in the manner he chose to do it. More so the time he chose to do it. Okay? But as an NFL player, you know, there's a sentiment that the guy couldn't play. That last season for the Niners, actually, he had a pretty decent year. I watched every game he played in, and that was maybe the worst offensive 49ers team I've ever seen, talent-wise. It was awful. And Chip Kelly was a dumpster fire, as advertised, dumpster fire. So there's two separate narratives. I don't agree with Kaepernick and him kneeling when he did, but should Kaepernick have been in the league as a starting quarterback? Probably. Okay, it's two separate issues. A lot of people want to combine the two. Now, to Brett Favre. This is one of the dumbest comments I have ever heard in all my life. Comparing this asshole, Colin Kaepernick, and his police pig socks and his Fidel Castro wearing shirt to the great Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman saw what happened in 9/11. He felt strongly about joining the military and fighting on behalf of his country. Okay? Now, I know everything about Nate Boyer coming out and getting with Colin and telling him to kneel instead of sitting during the national anthem. I've got a couple of problems with Colin Kaepernick and how he chose to protest. Number one, I believe the American flag and the national anthem and this country as a whole is bigger than any one entity. Period. That's how I was raised. In school, we did the Pledge of Allegiance, hand over our hearts, looking at the American flag every day. That flag is bigger than me. It's bigger than Colin Kaepernick. It's bigger than Brett Favre. I know a lot of military people have come out and said, hey, I'm not offended by Colin Kaepernick. That's great. I know a couple of people that say they are not. I know the majority, and I know a lot of people that served, they are offended by it. Flat out, they are offended. And I've said, if it was not about the flag, then why has Colin chose that particular moment in time? You could do it before the national anthem, after the national anthem, outside on the sidewalk. Why did you choose that one moment? Let's make no mistake, he is sending a message or trying to send a message at a certain part of society. I hate to break it to you, Colin Kaepernick, but the moment you kneeled during the national anthem, we Thanos snapped right out of your message. Why? Because the national anthem, the flag, and the country is bigger than you. It is. And that's why we don't like it disrespected. If you want to protest police brutality, A, don't do it on your employer's time. I don't like that shit. And as a 49ers fan, I think we should have cut him immediately. I don't care if you like that or not. Downvote the video. Number 2, you should have picked a different method of protest at a different time. We're in the age of social media. You could have done it. You're an NFL quarterback. You could have done it out on the sidewalk, and it would have caught fire on social media, Instagram, Twitter. You could have put a video up. It would have gotten 50 million views or 100 million views. But no, you chose to do it at that one singular moment during the national anthem. And yeah, motherfucker, you disrespected the goddamn country. A lot of people that served would say, I served for the right for Colin Kaepernick to be able to do it. That's true. You did. And that's correct. It's his right. If an employer will let him do it, that's on my Niners. I don't appreciate that shit. I never did. I will also tell you something else. No singular act caused me to switch from the Democratic Party over to voting for Donald Trump than Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the flag. That's exactly why I switched parties. Because I said I didn't sign up for this bullshit. I didn't sign up to have the military disrespected. I didn't sign up for the Democratic Party and voted for Obama twice to have the police disrespected. The military, our country, our American flag. Don't tell me it's not about America, the symbol of the American flag, because motherfuckers are burning the flag. Your ass should be thrown under a jailhouse for that. It is absolutely about disrespecting the country. If you choose to protest during that singular moment of the national anthem, you're choosing to give a middle finger to this nation and that flag. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. Brett Favre has taken one too many motherfucking hits to the head. I've got to be real with you. I think Brett Favre did this for publicity, and I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm not. Brett Favre, you can kiss my ass. And that sucks. I was a huge Brett Favre fan. To act like what Colin Kaepernick has done is as big as Pat Tillman being so motivated by the destruction of 9/11 that he gave up his NFL career, millions of dollars, joined the military, and then died. is one of the most irresponsible, dumbest fucking messages I have ever heard. I was outraged by George Floyd's murder, and he was murdered. I have supported the peaceful protesting. But let's keep some fucking perspective here. Colin Kaepernick wouldn't be doing what he was doing if it wasn't for a renowned fucking Marxist socialist, Harry Edwards, and Colin Kaepernick's old trifling ass socialist girlfriend getting in his head. That's what all of this has been about. Are those two entities that has poisoned Colin Kaepernick. You disrespect this nation when you kneel during the flag, during the national anthem, when everybody's looking at that flag. And look, if some military folks are fine with it, that's okay. But Colin, if anybody that's been in the military is offended by it, you should have chose a different method of protest. I know people that served in the Vietnam War that are extremely offended by it. And they deal with the fallout of what they have seen in said war. And Colin Kaepernick, you have chose to give a middle finger to somebody like that. Somebody like Pat Tillman. And now Brett Favre, you're giving the middle finger to somebody like Pat Tillman. In no world will Colin Kaepernick ever be what Martin Luther King was, what Pat Tillman was. The message is ridiculous. You chose a method of protest that 50% of America snapped right out of because you do not disrespect this country. What they are doing to statues out there, appalling. It's criminal. It's destruction of property. People, oh, they're protesting. No, it's flat-ass criminal destruction of property. It's illegal. A lot of these Democratic mayors and governors ain't doing shit about it because they want Trump out of office, which ain't gonna happen. The silent majority is watching Seattle and watching all the nonsense, and they're waiting for election day. Joe Biden ain't got a prayer. I agree, police brutality is an issue. But if Black Lives Matter so much, why aren't they marching in Chicago? They just had 100 people die over the weekend, including some children. Hypocritical nonsense bullshit from the Democratic Party. It's a leftist thing. Don't get confused. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. I know this video will get downvoted. Let me make it perfectly clear. I don't give a fuck. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.